Auditorium on the campus of Dartmouth College, the Bloomberg Washington Post Republican presidential debate.
We have made some inroads on the Federal Reserve. We passed a bill last year. We got a partial, audit of the Fed. We've learned a whole lot. They were dealing in $15 trillion. $5 trillion went overseas to bail out foreign banks. But you know what? Congress did a lot. I've worked on it for a good many years. But Bloomberg helped and Fox helped. They had court cases, Freedom of Information Act. And there are some even at this table who didn't think auditing the Fed was such a good idea, that we could call up the Fed and ask them and they would tell us what to do. I've been calling them up for 30 years and they never tell me. But we're getting to the bottom of it. But if you want to understand why we have a problem, you have to understand the Fed. Because the cause comes from the business cycle. We shouldn't be asking what to do exactly with the recession. Obviously, we have to deal with that. But you can't solve, you can't cure the disease if you don't know the cause of it. And the cause is the booms. When there are booms, and they're artificial, whether it's the CRA or whether it's the Fed easy credit, when you have bubbles, whether it's the NASDAQ or whether it's the housing bubbles, they burst. And when they do, you have to have corrections, and that's what we're dealing with. And we can do this by building coalitions and not sacrificing any principles.
Juliana, Tex, does that mean that you look with some favor upon 999 that Herman Cain mentioned at the beginning of this conversation?
I think it's a catchy phrase. In fact, I thought it was the price of a pizza when I first heard it.
We will be coming back to 999, but first...
Wait.
Well,
you mentioned me.
Give him 30 seconds.
You mentioned me, and you didn't give me an opportunity to respond.
You have that opportunity now.
Thank you very much. 999 will pass, and it is not the price of a pizza because it has been well studied and well developed. It starts with, unlike your proposals, throwing out the current tax code. Continuing to pivot off the current tax code is not going to boost this economy. This is why we developed 999. 9% corporate business flat tax, 9% personal income flat tax, and a 9% national sales tax. And it will pass, Senator, because the American people want it to pass.
This is the federal government out of housing. Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no need to look at
no Freddie Mac, no Fannie Mae, nothing. That's where the distortions come. That's where the moral hazard comes from. That's where the malinvestment, overbuild. It was predictable. You talked about what economists we should look to, and unfortunately, we've been living with Keynesian economics for many, many decades. And everybody who was right about predicting the bubbles were Austrian economists. They said they were coming. And yet they're also saying, and I agree with them, that everything that we're doing right now is wrong. So what we did with the housing bubble, yes, we had too many houses. It was glaring in our face. The bubble was doomed to burst, and it came because of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, easy credit, and also Community Reinvestment Act. So who got into trouble? The people who did the speculating, the Wall Street, the derivatives market. They got the bailout. They got privileges. So what happened to the middle class? They lost their jobs. They lost their houses. This whole system is all messed up. And what I hear here is just tinkering with the current system and not looking at something new and different. And it's a free market economy without a Federal Reserve System, with sound money. If you don't have that, you're going to continue with the bubble. And this propping up this debt and keeping the correction. You need the correction. You need to get rid of the malinvestment and the debt. The debt is the burden on the economy. All right, we'll be back. Take a break and be right back. Stay with us from Dartmouth to Hanover, New Hampshire.
I want to say one thing about the entire way Washington works, which was just posed in that question. First of all, the Congress couldn't figure out how to get the debt ceiling down with a president who showed zero leadership. So they adopt a truly stupid bill. Okay? And the bill basically says we're either going to shoot ourselves in the head or cut off our right leg, and we'll come in and around Thanksgiving and we'll show you how we're going to cut off the right leg, and the alternative will be shooting ourselves in the head. Let me just say bluntly, all of the spending cuts that are built into the debt ceiling bill, all of them are acts of Congress. They can all be repealed at any moment. It is nonsense to say we're going to disarm the United States unilaterally because we're too stupid to balance the budget any other way.
This discussion is all about economics, Governor Romney. I promise this won't be about religion. Sorry about that, Rick. Since some might see it because of your past employment with Bain Capital as more of a financial engineer,
somebody who breaks down businesses, destroys jobs as opposed to creating jobs and opportunity, leveraging up, spinning off, enriching shareholders. Since you were number 47 as governor of the state of Massachusetts, where we were number 1, for example, and the whole discussion around this campaign is going to be job creation, how can you win that debate given your background?
Well, my background is quite different than you described, John. So the way I'll win it is by telling people an accurate rendition of what I've done in my life. And fortunately, people in New Hampshire living next door have a pretty good sense of that.
So which Federal Reserve chairman over the last 40 years do you think has been most successful and might serve as a model for that appointment?
Alan Greenspan.
Why?
Because that's when I served on the board of the Federal Reserve in the early 1990s. And the way Alan Greenspan oversaw the Fed and the way he coordinated with all of the Federal Reserve banks, I think that it worked fine back in the early 1990s. I don't believe in ending the Fed. I believe we can fix the Fed by getting that mission refocused on monetary price stability, and I have candidates in mind that will help us do that.
So you have 2 appointments waiting in the wings for 2013, for that when his
Yes.
term is up 2014.
Yes, I have 2 candidates waiting in the wings
How about a hint?
to take that job. I got to keep them confidential.
Okay, Congressman Paul.
Spoken like a true insider. No, Alan Greenspan was a disaster.
All 59 points in your 160-page plan, and does it satisfy that criteria of being simple, transparent, efficient, fair, and neutral?
Is the American dream of owning a home no longer a realistic dream? And is it too easy in America?
You know, there's a stream of American thought that really wishes we would decay and fall apart and that the future would be bleak so the government could then share the misery. It was captured by Jimmy Carter in his Malaise speech. It's captured every week by Barack Obama in his apologias disguised as press conferences.
30
I can
seconds.
connect with people's pain because I was poor before I was poor. My dad worked 3 jobs. I understand what that means, but more importantly, with my career and with my record, I understand that leaders are supposed to make sure we're working on the right problems. We'll assign the right priority. Surround yourself with the right people, which will allow you to put together the right plans. And yes, sometimes those plans will be bold plans because this economy is on life support. We don't need to trim around the edges. We need a bold plan.
Congressman.
My motivation, my goals has always been to promote liberty, believing that's what made America great. If we want prosperity, if we want peace, we understand what the cause of liberty is all about. And we have to understand that a free market system and sound money gives us the prosperity. And it also is the humanitarian program, because once you get into the welfare state and the socialist state, it all backfires. So if you care about people, you believe in liberty, that's what made America great. That's what I want to restore.
For those at home, thank you for watching a post-debate program. We'll follow this. We thank you for your time. Good night.